Ladies, beautiful ladies, a big, big applause for the moment we've been waiting for. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome from my side, Dolly. When I first met you, I was very bad at wearing saris. Now I can say I'm a little bit better under your constant tutelage.
Thank you.
But of course, now you're a household name. I mean, we can see by this, fabulous turnout. But it wasn't like that initially. I mean, it's been a long road. So, and you once shared with me that you actually disliked wearing saris. I don't know if you wanted me to share that, but sorry, I did. So what changed your perspective, about sari? Because initially you said you really were against, being forced to wear it. And how did that change over the years?
Hi everyone. There's so much to share about me that I forgot to even greet you guys. I actually disliked saris so much that I wanted to cut it into pieces and throw it away. I swear. In fact, I've done that to one of my sari, and this is the first time I'm admitting this. And it was because, I got married into a family where I was forced to wear a sari. When you're forced to do something, you start disliking it. But when you fall in love with something and you wear it on your own wish, then you like it. And for me, it was every day, constantly. I think I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning until 6:30, fix my sari. And still not get it right. And I used to just see my husband sleeping and snoring. And I would feel that he has to wake up at 8 o'clock and I have to wake up 1.5 hours early just to fix this sari. But I thought I'm going to convince my mother-in-law, but unfortunately I couldn't. I convinced myself. I used to wear kota doria that time a lot because we used to wear it every day. So I remember wearing kota doria and I mastered it. I mastered kota doria in such a way that I didn't want to wear any other fabric, thinking that if I'm going to wear a chiffon or if I'm going to wear an organza, I will still have that same struggle. So I think slowly it just happened that I felt that I looked the best in a sari. Every time I went in any other outfit, I didn't get as many as compliments that I got when I wore a sari. So I think, okay, the game changer is not me. It is the sari. I said, let's stick to it.
Well, you do look gorgeous in saris. And
I mean, we all do. I can see everyone looking amazing.
The game changer is how you drape the sari. So yes, I think that's the real game changer. True. And coming to that, I mean, you did come from a fairly conservative family. So how did you even think, maybe I can start making a career out of this? Or you made the leap from I don't like saris to I love saris. Then how did you make the leap from, okay, now I wear saris at home, but maybe I can teach others?
So my family, my father's side, they were not conservative. My father actually said that, Dolly, I give you the sky and I give you wings to fly. But when I got married, that wings had a lot of weight, because of which I couldn't fly. And I thought, how do I remove these weights? So initially, I just felt that fighting, arguing, and struggling, and making everything a hell would not help anyone. It's going to make everything difficult, not only for me, my family. I had 2 kids. I think, because when I initially started talking about this in my family, I felt everybody was so disturbed. And with them, I was so disturbed. And then my relationship with my husband, I felt the best way to do it is step by step start convincing them. And I really feel this was something that he had planned for me. That's the reason I think I couldn't study after class 7. Earlier I used to hide, and now I very proudly at any platform, say this, that my education, in fact, class 7, I just gave my first grade. And in my 2nd grade, I just couldn't go. There have been some reasons, some little health issues, and I still get, nostalgic when I speak about that moment. But then I just felt, that time I felt, okay, this is the end and I cannot do anything. And then I got married and I really wanted to do something, because Papa ne kaha hai, आसमान दे दिया मैंने तुम्हें, But where is the Asman? I couldn't see, I could only see the roof. Where is the sky? And where are my wings? So I think slowly I started convincing my family. And when they understood that this girl, you can't stop this girl. And then, to my fortunate, I happened to meet Sridevi ji. That was a game changer.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah.
I think you're a mind reader also. Yeah, I think your encounter with Sri Devi.
Until then, I had never decided that I'm going to take it up as a profession. Though before that, there were 3 girls in my complex, they wanted to learn draping, and I did teach them. But I taught them as, you know, someone who's requested me, their mother had requested me to teach them how to drape a sari, and I did it. But I never thought I'm going to take it up as a profession. Until when I had a chance to drape Sridevi ji, and when I was draping her, and she was staring at my fingers, and after a pause she said, Dolly, I've never seen anyone pleat saris like the way you do. And I think after a second, she said, why don't you take it up as a profession? And that is it. I didn't think about it. I didn't even give a second thought to it. I came back to Calcutta and I told this to my dad, that Papa, I want to take it up as a profession. And I think Papa was the only one who didn't laugh at me. The rest, everyone thought I've gone mad. Everybody, every single person said she's wasting her time. Belonging to such a good family, why is she not joining some kitty and some clubs and, you know, entertaining herself there, rather than wasting her time here? But today, I proudly feel that I didn't waste a single minute also. Sitting here proves it all.
Absolutely. You mentioned briefly about, you know, you said family, when you were starting out, you had a young family, and like, you know, many women here, balancing career, balancing family, I mean, it's a task in and of itself. So how did you manage?
Yeah, you know how I feel today? Every time I look back, I remember the days where I could, you know, I did everything for Ratika, my elder daughter. But the younger one, I don't remember anything about her childhood. And I feel so guilty, because that is the period when you're growing, and that's the same period when your kid is growing. And I don't know about the others, but I feel every working woman will connect with this, that we do feel guilty. And it is absolutely fine. I mean, you know, somewhere things will be left behind. But what you need to do is know a little to balance it. And this guilt will always be there. I feel now I'm living with that guilt. But you know, when my kids come up to me and they say, Mom, what have you made yourself? I think then the guilt is a little less.
It's a proud feeling when your kid says that.
Every mother that I've met, every single mother say this to me, that Dolly, we feel guilty because we've never seen our kids grow. Or when she said her first word, or when she started, you know, walking. Because that was the time, your eyes are not glued on her. There's so many other things that you're doing. If you know how to balance it, I mean, it's fine. You don't have to feel guilty about it. And also there's one thing that I really wanted to share. I think being a working woman, a lot of us can do this. So it's been, I think, more than 10 years. There's a ritual, there's a thing in my family, between 4 of us. No matter which part of the world we are in, because Naveen is in Calcutta, I keep traveling, Ratika, elder one, is in London, Anya is in Bangalore. So we have this 11 o'clock call time. That's been religiously followed till date. So 11 o'clock call time is a video call. No matter where you are, you have to attend, and that's a rule. So we see each other, and if there is something very urgent, then we'll say, okay, I'm in a shoot, okay, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back. But we get that picture clicked. So I remember last year we had 325 clicks. So that full house clip, we do that full house clip. And I feel it's a beautiful way to just feel connected, just to know what's going on with your kid, if there is something that she wants to share. And I've taught this to my kids, and I think Dad has also taught us this, that if you have to say sorry, if you have to say thank you, say it today, because there is no tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll keep feeling guilty or she'll keep feeling guilty that you did this and you didn't say sorry. So we have to finish all our grudges before we sleep. So I think that's the reason that call is very important.
So not just sari tips, but now you're giving us life tips. I think you may have find a career in being a life coach also. But back to your stellar career. I mean, as you progressed, I mean, you worked with, you know, all the top designers. I mean, say Abu Jani, Sandeep Khosla, Sabyasachi. I mean, what was it like to work with them, especially in the early years where now, of course, you know, sari draping is recognized as, you know, a separate entity. But in those initial days, I mean, how was it like working with these designers where, you know, you really had to make, you know, that path for yourself?
I think, you know, it wasn't a great struggle with working with these designers because designers have a key eye and they see the whole world through a different lens, I believe. So, you know, I think Sandeep, when he saw me do a drape, I remember I was doing a bride somewhere and her dupatta was very heavy. And the bride kept on cribbing, saying that, oh my God, you made such a heavy dupatta. I don't know how I'm going to drape it and this and that. And the whole environment, I think, became very tensed. And I looked at the dupatta. I didn't know how to fix it by then. Huh? I looked at the dupatta and it was so heavy. And I said, God, please help me and I have to do something here. And guys, believe me or not, I didn't know who Sandeep Khosla was. There was a gentleman standing and instructing. So I thought, अच्छा ये कोई घर के होंगे जो बता रहे because you know initial days I'm not into that zone and you know you rarely get to meet designers so and then I fixed the dupatta with every possible way that I could and the bride immediately said what did you do, did you cut off my dupatta? I said, you think I'm going to cut off your bridal dupatta? I said, no, I didn't do that, but I know how to balance the weight of the dupatta. And that's the reason half weight is here and half is on your shoulders. And that's the reason you're not feeling the weight of the dupatta. That is what Sandeep saw. And since then he understood that this girl knows how to divide the weight. You know, when you're doing bridal drapes, it's so important for you to understand it's not only about two pins, one up and one down, and you think the bridal draping is done. It's not like that. It is to know what your bride's structure is, how much she can carry, where she can carry. If her waist is too thin, I'm not going to put every weight here. I will make sure that I'm dividing the weight on her shoulder, but likewise. So I think that's where Sandeep saw me, and then he started recommending my names to brides, and that is when Neeta Ambani came in. And I think after that name, it just started, everything was aligned then.
But it looks like you know a good bit of math and physics too, because you know how to balance.
But good, at least I did that class 7, otherwise I wouldn't have known this.
So speaking of obviously, you know, Neeta Ambani and other celebrities, I mean, social media, it's part of all of our lives today. And, you know, it has good points and bad points, of course. But how do you think it, you know, affected your career? I mean, it definitely helped, but do you see people, you know, commenting negatively sometimes? Or, you know, what are the pluses and minuses of, you know, putting it all out there? And you are very frank in your videos, so.
Yeah. So I think, you know, initially when I started putting, you know, probably 17, 18 years back, I was the first one to put a sari draping video on YouTube. And I didn't know how the algorithm works. I did a landscape video and okay, I didn't do it on myself. I had done it on a model, it was posted, fine. And then came the Instagram fever. And you actually need to understand what Instagram is. You know, when you use social media in a better way, it's like great. And if you misuse it, then you're gone. So I think social media has helped me a lot, whether it's Facebook or it's Instagram or it's YouTube. I think the reach that everybody knows you and everybody is watching you and they feel they are a part of your life because they see you every day. It's because of this social media. You should know what to portray, how much to portray, and how much you can let your life be open. And when I say you know, giving it away on social media because I've been very, very transparent. If someone has asked me for a hack and if I know about it, I will put it up on my reel, on my video, in my captions, anywhere, and I'll try and help that lady. And if I don't know, then that is the game-changing thing, because if I don't know, then I'll sit and I'll struggle to find a solution for you guys. So I think this is how, and I'm lucky enough, I rarely get to hear negative things about me on Instagram. There've been a few of them initially when I started, immediately after COVID, in fact during the COVID, when I didn't have a model and I had to do the drapes on me, there were a few men, not women, but there were a few men who just commented saying that, we can see your stretch marks and you are so fat, why don't you join gym? I'm a dietitian, come join me, this, that and all of that. And I didn't have to reply. You know, you guys replied back saying that, oh my God, she's so lucky, she's got stretch marks. You aren't that lucky, you'll never have it. So I think, you know, I never had to reply back. I think you all have taken care of that. I just had to do my content bit and share it with you all. That's it. And, you know, to be popular and to be recognized in any part of the world is because of social media. Whether it's Puglia, whether it's Italy, I mean, I was there in Singapore and the receptionist, aren't you the sorry lady? And I said, yeah, oh my God. And she herself was in shorts. I said, oh my God. She also knows, but I keep watching it, but I don't know how to drape it, and she didn't even own a sari. Unfortunately, I was carrying a sari and I gifted her one.
How sweet. But tell me now, obviously your sari draping skills and, you know, your new kind of drapes, they've had a tremendous impact on the fashion industry. But how other ways have you had an impact? I mean, I'm sure there's other things, other lines. I mean, you know, where do you see yourself in the future growing? Because as you said, there's always tomorrow, life is about growth, so.
I think where I see myself, I'm coming up with the coffee table book which says 365 plus 1. So I've not even left the leap year. So 365 plus 1 styles to drape a sari. I'm not telling you to buy a sari. If you don't, you have to. But then otherwise, just you've got such beautiful heirloom pieces with your granny, your mother-in-law, your mother, you yourself might have them. I think just pick it up, open my book, and you know, you've got styles which has, your bottom is maybe a lehenga, a denim, shorts, or maybe a dress, and I've given you styles to drape a sari on it. So I think just open the book and style your sari the way you want it. You can drape a sari in a form of a gown without cutting, without stitching. So why do we buy gowns? I mean, you know, when you have this incredible piece which can be crafted in so many different ways, and you know, no second person is going to look like you, because you will look like yourself, and every sari falls on a female in a different form. And also someone just said that, you know, we get our saris and we pre-drape it and we stitch it in that way. I said, fine, but then what if your mother wants to wear it one day, and what if you want to gift it to your daughter, and what if she's not of your size? It's a waste. And when this 6 yard of fabric can be made in 365 ways, why do we restrict ourselves to only one style? And how do you even have the audacity to cut that beautiful fabric? I can't. I've done it once though, admitting it, but now I can't.
Well, coming to cutting saris, now most of us use a lot of safety pins, as you know, Divya had mentioned, and like sometimes, especially if it's a very thin fabric, like it leaves a hole, or I mean, you of course, you know, use so many other techniques, but you know, at home, what can I do? I mean, that would help me not spoil my, you know, saris.
Just use a band-aid.
A band-aid?
Yeah, a band-aid. So when there is a thin fabric, this is very thick though, when there is a thin fabric like a net or a chiffon or a chanderi or a organza, what you actually do is just put a transparent band-aid below, right? So you actually double the fabric, and the other side of the fabric, that's the band-aid, is very stiff. And then when you insert the pin, what is happening? The entire weight and the pain and the hole is taken care by the band-aid.
Oh, wow.
And your sari is not disturbed. Because what is happening, when you're pulling it, the band-aid is not letting it go anywhere. But when you're doing it just with the sari, you might just pull and tear.
There's going to be a run on Amazon after this. We're all going to be going and buying these transparent Band-Aids. I think that's what we're going to need for sure. Anyway, Dolly, back to your children, I mean, who are grown now, but there's always our kids are our kids. And, you know, you shared that they live in different parts of the country, different parts of the world. Do either of them have any interest in joining you, making it a family business, you know, keeping it going? Or, you know, what are their trajectories like?
Initially, I thought they will. I thought my elder one would. But she's a writer and she's doing her master's in brand management and communication science. So I see nothing happening there. And the younger one is a product designer. So I think, and the product is not a sari. So unfortunately, that's also not there. So I thought, you know, I would be true. Until COVID, I just felt that, okay, I'll show this much, but I should hide this part. I'll share this much, but when I knew that both my daughters are not getting into it, I said, let's share it with the world. Not two, but there were so many more daughters getting into this and doing this as a, you know, hobby, as a profession.
Okay, now it's like secret time, okay? We're all friends here, right?
Yeah, we're all friends.
So tell us some, you know, you don't need to share names, although if you want to, you can. Like, tell us some really interesting, you went for, you know, a drape and you were just like shocked. This shocked you. This happened, anything, any incident that comes to mind.
So, okay, I was doing this wedding in Hua Hin, and it was a South Indian wedding, and the bride was wearing a lehenga.
Somebody here? Anybody?
No, that I'm sure about. So she was, the girl was 5'8", and the groom was 6'4", and her lehenga was supposed to be 5'8" plus 3 inches heel. I looked at the, and okay, fortunately, she just said, Dolly, why don't you come and have a look at my jewelry and if there is any dupatta fixing to be done. So I reached her place half an hour before, I don't know why. You know, it's all his planning. There are situations where, you know, he put you into it. So I reached there half an hour before and I looked at the bride. I said, she looks tall and the lehenga looks quite short to me. And I said, now what do I do? And then I had to ask her, I said, would you stand? And she stood there and I was like, oh my God. The lehenga was actually for a 5 feet 4 inches girl.
Oh my gosh.
And I swear on God, because I have never been into a situation like this, I flipped. I said, and I still had to keep calm. And the bride was like, no, my God, I paid so much for this designer, and what is it? It's my day, and he's ruined my day, and blah, 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 all of that. But inside, I don't know what was going inside. But then I kept calm. Oh, relax, I'll find a solution, and I know how to fix it, and I didn't know how to fix it. And I kept saying, God, if you're here, please help me do something. And then, being South Indian, I said, okay, we got a petticoat, because petticoat was there because she was wearing saris on the other days. Decoat wasn't introduced by then. So she wore a petticoat, and fortunately, I could arrange a gold Kanjivaram sari, a pure gold Kanjivaram sari that her mum was supposed to wear for the reception. And she had it. We were doing this.
Keep in mind, she was not in India. I think you guys didn't get the beginning of her. They were in, I think, Thailand or somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so then what I did was, on the petticoat, I took that Kanjivaram sari and I started making chota pleats. I pleated the whole Kanjivaram. Kanjivaram has got good length, right? So pleated the whole Kanjivaram and made it like a lehenga. And I slipped the 5'4" lehenga on top of the Kanjivaram sari. So basically what happened, the gap was the Kanjivaram sari. And till date, thank you. Until date, she calls me up and she's got a son, and you know, once in a year we do, I speak to her because on her anniversary. And that 2 minutes we'll discuss, what if you wouldn't have been Dolly? Instead of lehenga, I would have worn a long skirt on my wedding. And that also, like, you know, I don't know, even 5'4" I think was short. So I think, you know, this is a thing for all of you. When you get the lehenga, make sure, even if you've got it from the designer, humans, I mean, the errors can happen. So you can just open your lehenga, you know, because what we feel is it's packed so well, let it be, don't open it, because once you open it, you'll not be able, but if you open it and you figure out this, and then if Dolly is not there, then what will you do? So I think it is great to open it up, because I've also had an incident where the lehenga's dupatta was burnt. Yeah. So the bride didn't open it then, and when we opened it for giving, and I knew that it was burnt because when the shadow was opening the dupatta and she said, this is burnt. And I said, okay, don't say it to the bride, otherwise she's going to flip. So, but we took the dupatta and showed it to her mother. I said, this is the dupatta that's come. And now she said, Dolly, now what do we do? Because this was her head veil. I said, relax, don't worry. We took the body veil and we did it as a head dupatta because there was nothing else, because the color that she was wearing, there was nobody else carrying any dupatta like that and, you know, doing anything as such. So always open and see all of these. I mean, it's just a thing, might happen to anyone. So it's always good to be safe.
Like all these behind the scenes, now I'm so stressed for you. I always thought it seems like all fun and games, but...
grass is always green on the other side. You don't know the pebbles.
You mentioned that, you know, that time you didn't have D-coat. I mean, I know about it and I'm sure many do, but tell us a little about, you know, D-coat and, you know, how that is helpful compared to like a regular petticoat.
So I'll tell you how D-coat actually happened. So every time, see, the designers were so busy making saris. They never draped saris. But when I was draping a sari, I understood that the problem was not the drape, the sari, but the problem was the underskirt. Either it was too tight, either it was too loose. You know, the sari aapne kisi designer ki khareed li. But what you did was, okay, underskirt, I'll just take it from my mom's wardrobe because that's not going to be visible. But you don't know if you wear your mom's underskirt, it's not your size. And it's not going to be flattering on you. And it is going to add bulges. So that's the reason I think, you know, everything that we've had in D-coat, and I didn't want the fabric to be taffeta, bizilizi, or maybe lycra, or any other fabric, satin. I knew that I'm a very cotton person and I want my underskirt to be cotton. That's the reason the D-coat that I've introduced is 99% cotton and 1% lycra. And it just gives you that perfect shape. It allows you to sit on the floor, do your everyday work. I've been wearing D-coat for the past 4-5 years now after we introduced. In fact, I have scrutinized my product so much that I know if anybody says if there is a problem, the first thing I will say, acha, where have we gone wrong? So you know, that's the D-coat. Even the drawstring, see, normally what happens, the drawstring is stitched with the fabric that is left. But our drawstring is weaved. So there is no joint in between. So you know, I remember once I was doing, I did one female, and she called me up saying that, oh my God, Dolly, please come back soon because my whole sari is opened. And I said, my fixed sari is going to open? No way. I said, there's something that's gone wrong. And I went up to her and I saw that the drawstring broke. And because, you know, when you're tying your petticoat, you just feel that, acha, bahut tight kar do, ki khul nahi jaye. You always feel it's going to open. And that's the reason you put in so much strength to just tightening up. But actually what happens, it starts breaking from the, you know, the stitch part. So that's the reason, instead of getting it stitched, we've got it weaved. So that's the D-coat.
So now we know how to improve.
It's actually decode all your sari problems by wearing a D-coat.
Did you come up with that tagline yourself?
Yeah, even D-coat was what I did, because we were just sitting and they said, okay, what will we call it? I said, I'm not going to call it a petticoat. I said, petty is too small, remove the petty first. And Dolly's D has to be somewhere. So it's D, and we took the coat from the petticoat. So it's D apostrophe coat, it's desire, determination, it's the divas. So I think it's all, D actually has a lot of adjectives.
So when you're actually draping saris, you know, you have clients or, I mean, how many, like we heard about all your records and 18 seconds and this many drapes, but it's difficult. I mean, it's not, an easy task. So like if you've gone for say a wedding, or what's like the maximum number of people that you have draped in, like one day?
Initial days, I think about 83 is what I remember.
83?
Yeah, and I don't remember the faces because I didn't get time to look at them also. I was doing the sari. It was like that. I remember I did this wedding in Hyderabad, Ramurji Film City. And they came up to me and they're like, you did my sari, it stayed. So, oh, did I? Because I didn't look at you. So 83, and I think after that I've trained so many people. So I take my assistants, they do the drapes. I concentrate in bride plus the mother, or the groom and the mother and sisters.
So now that you said, it's not going to be a family business, I mean, you're young, you've lost so much weight, you're looking so nice. So how do you see yourself like at age 80? You think you're still going to be draping saris?
Till my last breath, I will. I would really want to. Even if my hands are shivering, God, please give me the strength to at least be able to pleat. I really want to. I can't think anything beyond saris. I don't know whether you guys will be able to relate, because even if I'm sitting, I'm just doing this. It's just the pleats. So, yeah.
So
I don't want to retire.
No, now, I mean, it is your passion, and obviously, your passion has become your career, which is, what everybody hopes for.
Yeah.
But I mean, that has been bestowed upon you through your hard work as well.
Absolutely.
And we're all, so interested now to get to see your passion in real life. We saw some of your pre-drapes, but I don't think, I've had several chances to see you in person, but I don't think your videos do justice. When we see her in person actually draping, you see the deftness and how easy it comes to you. And of course, obviously it has come with a lot of practice, but in the initial days, did you sit and actually at home by yourself, like practice not just on yourself, but maybe draping on others, or?
I practiced every single day. Even today, I practice every single day.
Even today?
Even today. I still feel I just have the knowledge of just one drop of it. The ocean is still left. Even today, because the designers are coming up with new fabric every single day. This blend with this with this. The moment I get accustomed to a fabric, there's a new fabric in the market. And every fabric has its own flow. We feel just because we know how to drape a kanjivaram or a chiffon or an organza, we'll drape all the saris in that way. It's not like that. Every sari has got its own elasticity, and there's a way to drape every sari. And that's the reason if you see in my videos, there are little changes that I do, and that's because chiffon will behave differently, kanjivaram will behave differently. For chiffon, I'm going to pull, but if I tell you to pull kanjivaram like that, you're gone. The sari is going to tear.
Well, I mean, now, I know you shouldn't play favorites, but like, what's your favorite fabric to drape? And what's the worst fabric to drape?
If a mother can decide and tell which is her favorite child and the worst child, I will be able to answer this.
But all mothers secretly know which is their favorite child.
No.
Maybe not favorite, but we know the worst. Tell me one of the more difficult fabrics.
I don't think so. There's any difficult fabric.
Well, we're gonna test that now, because we got some.
I mean, all of my fabrics are my favorite fabrics.